Hello and welcome to Post, the channel where we discuss all things hockey and all teams. There's still more stuff to talk about here. We have a laundry list of hockey news items. I'm just going to call this video like hockey news and then a couple of topics.
Cool.
Because there's too many to put in the title would be this long.
Yeah,
so
breaking news.
There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 things I'd like to talk about in this video. They're kind of go in order of the jerseys. So the storylines are going to kind of go in the jerseys so you know what teams are going to be where in the video. Right. Okay, I'd like to start off by talking about Austin Watson of the Nashville Predators. Do you know anything about him or what's going on? What's happening?
I do know that back early in the summer, May or June, he was in a vehicle, I think with his wife, girlfriend, whatever, and they were seen to be struggling inside, and the cops came along, and I think she had some bruises, and other things may have happened. But anyway, he was implicated in some domestic violence.
You're very close.
Okay.
From what I read, they were spotted at a gas station outside. They were arguing, and he was seen pushing her.
Yeah.
So she had some marks on her chest or something like that. I'm not exactly sure. But the NHL has suspended him 27 games without pay, and that includes the entire preseason. Mm-hmm. So the NHL has really stepped in. Now, they don't have a domestic abuse policy in their abusal system. So it's based on judge in the state. So they work with the judge to investigate on the case and stuff.
Right.
So the NHL decided that 27 games was the correct and applicable amount for his offense based on the evidence.
That's a third of a season.
It is. It's a lot of money.
That's
like it's an impactful suspension for sure.
Yeah, it definitely is.
I believe that's close to what Weidman got when he cross-checked the referee from behind. I think he got like 28 games or something like that.
Okay.
But Watson pled no contest in court. He didn't fight it. It's unfortunate. I mean, it seems like every sport has a couple people get caught up in that stuff. But hopefully, I know that they're working past it. They're actually taking like counseling and stuff, mandatory by the NHL, I believe. The entire family. I can't remember his girlfriend's name, but
yeah, and I think there's at least one young child involved.
Yes,
too.
there is a child.
That's part of the family, and so it's a horrible thing. And the NHL is not as quick as some of the other professional sports in catching up to this issue, but I think the suspension that was announced shows that they're taking it seriously.
Absolutely.
Now, I've seen some commentary since that happened, like suspend him for life, ban him from the league forever. And I can understand why those opinions are earnestly held. Domestic violence is a scourge on our society, and I don't know how far we have to go to stop it. How big the penalties have to get, but they have to get however big they need to get to stop this.
Well, hopefully they don't use the same mentality as what the NHL uses for suspensions, because if that's the case, then Brad Marchand would have been like, if they used the mentality of suspension of Brad Marchand, then Austin Watson he'd get like 1 game, and the next 8 times he did it, he'd get like 2 games.
Yeah.
So, anyway, you get where I'm going.
But as much as I've seen commentary saying that 21 or 27 games wasn't enough, I've seen other commentary saying, and I don't agree with it, but saying that, look, it's not part of the game. It's not anything that happened on the ice or in the dressing room or as part of the hockey culture. It shouldn't be impacting his career.
And I disagree with that, probably for the same reason.
Yeah.
The players in their contract sign an agreement that they're still hockey players off of the ice. They're still representing the team, the city, the organization. It reflects on their teammates, everything. So it's kind of like astronauts. I mean, astronauts just aren't astronauts when they're in space. They're astronauts all the time. They are representing NASA and all the stuff. So
yeah, no, that's a very good analogy to draw.
Thank you.
Hockey players, and I don't want to differentiate hockey too much from other sports, but I'd like to think that we hold our hockey players in very high regard in this country.
Yes.
And we, I think, often probably wrongly see them as almost superhuman, as godlike figures. And that's why it hurts all the more when we see them with very human frailties and foibles and going through these same kind of problems that happen up and down probably every street with a house on it that's watching this video has a house somewhere else on that street where this kind of thing has happened in the past or is happening right now. And I don't know what the solution is, but the solution is closer when the league and the teams take these things seriously. And I think they are.
I don't condone his actions. I don't think anyone does. I understand that people make mistakes, though. I'm glad that they're willing to do the counseling and go through the process. And obviously, Austin feels bad about it, and he wants to do better and become a better person and stuff. Otherwise, he wouldn't agree to the counseling and all this stuff. So a little bit of kudos there, but still, if they suspended him for the whole year, I would have been okay with that as well. You just can't do that. So
That's right.
next up on the agenda here is Tortorella.
Yeah.
Did you hear that he got extended?
I saw that.
Yeah. So
2 years, right?
He got extended 2 years.
Yeah.
And this is a man who just won the Jack Adams in 2016, 2017. A guy that took Columbus from a bubble-ish team to a serious contender.
Yeah.
At least in the regular season. They haven't had that playoff success. But, man, wherever he goes, he wins, eh? Like, he has that, other than Vancouver.
He does.
But he did it in Tampa. He did it in New York. He's doing it in Columbus. It is impressive. But he has this coaching style that wears on players. He has really great short-term success in teams, and then the players start to get really annoyed, and he's a very hard-nosed coach, and I think they just get worn down mentally, and they just stop responding to him, and that's the problem with long-term Tortorella.
I don't know how his relationship is with individual players on the Blue Jackets team, but I thought it was interesting and maybe a little canny that he's been retained for 2 years, a 2-year contract, which as coaches go, it's probably about fine.
Yeah.
Not too many coaches get forever deals.
About 5 years is the maximum you see from coaches. And
Pretty well.
That's pretty rare.
And a lot of times coaches get fired before the 5 years and they've got to pay them out. But you've got Panarin and Bobrovsky on the last years of their contract. So you're telling those players, we'd like to sign you, but good or bad, at least the first year of your new contract, you got Tortorella behind the bench. And maybe that's a draw to those players. Maybe they did that so they would be more likely to re-sign if they want them. Or maybe they did that to the players like, let's say they're not getting along with Tortorella. Hey, players, you're stuck with Tortorella, if you re-sign with us, because, we think he's good and you'll have to deal with that. I don't know if there's any element of that dynamic at all.
Well, maybe it's a kind of a let's get him for 2 years. In a year, if we talk to the players that really don't want Tortorella there, we fire him. We have to pay him out 1 year of his salary.
Okay.
He's got a year left, whatever.
Yeah.
So
there's a lot going on right now. This is an oddball week to announce this decision. Because
it is.
This is the week that Panarin set as his deadline. Maybe not an official written deadline, but his own personal deadline. The 13th of September was the day that he wanted to see, show me the money, basically. Or else he was going to seriously think of not re-signing and just looking around. Yeah. Now, there's only certain amount of access you can have to a player who's still the property of the Columbus Blue Jackets. But he had set a bit of a self-imposed deadline of September 13th for the Columbus Blue Jackets to come along and show them they were serious about wanting to keep him.
Good for him.
And, and I don't know that that's happened because we're now filming after that date. As far as Bobrovsky goes, I'm not sure what his plans were he not to sign.
I don't know.
He'd have no problem getting offers.
Oh, are you kidding me? Yeah, he'd go anywhere.
He's set, no matter what he does.
Next up on the docket, we have dockets now. Justin Williams named captain of the Hurricanes. Not really a surprise here. He was with the team a very long time ago. He came back last year.
Yes.
So this is a guy who is a veteran in the NHL, and you probably consider him a veteran of the Hurricanes as well.
Yeah, he's got a Stanley Cup ring with them.
He does. So he's used to the organization. I'm okay with this decision. I know you don't like Justin Williams that much.
I have a reason for. I don't like one thing Justin Williams did. I don't actually dislike the man, but I do dislike how that whole thing went down in 2006.
He high-sticked Saku Koivu in the eye.
Yeah, and basically put Koivu out of the playoffs in that first-round series. Montreal was up 2-0 in that series. This high-sticking thing happened in Carolina. After Koivu went down, the Hurricanes won that game. They went on to beat the Canadiens, and they won the Cup that year. And I think that was the year that Montreal was closer to repeating a Stanley Cup than any of the others that they've been close.
Really?
I do. I really do. I think they had the team that year to do it. But I think Koivu was so important to the team that the loss of him was turned the channel. And I always will attribute that to Justin Williams. One thing I noticed on just looking at Cap Friendly, he's only got 1 year left in his contract.
Yep.
So they're making him the captain, knowing full well, and he's what, 36 years old?
He's not
like
young.
That this may just be a farewell. You're captain for the last year. Go have fun with it. Lead the guys,
That's not a bad.
and that'd be fine.
That's not a bad assumption because they could be priming him for a role off the ice if he decides to retire.
Yep.
Hey, this guy who was your captain is now going to be your face-off guy, or he's going to be the assistant coach or whatever. So yeah, it could work.
Speaking of Carolina, before we leave,
Let's do it.
Did you hear what happened to Victor Rask?
No.
This just happened. It was the news came out just hours before we're filming this. He had an accident at home while cutting something in his kitchen, and he cut his hand really badly. He's going to be out for a long time.
What?
Yes.
Are you serious?
I imagine there was tendons and things affected. Might be a couple of months.
Are you serious?
Victor Rask he's on the IR right now because of a kitchen accident at home.
Dang.
So you win
That's
some, you lose
intense.
some. Oh man.
Wow.
Poor guy.
I just want to briefly touch on the Boston and Rangers trade. McQuaid was traded to the Rangers for Steven Kampfer, I think his name is.
Yep.
A fourth round 2019 pick and a conditional seventh round 2019 pick. To me, this was mainly about financials. Boston saves roughly $2 million here.
Yeah.
They get McQuaid off the books. He was a guy that's been with the team for a long time. He's in the bottom two of the defense core, and in extreme conditions, he could probably move up to that middle ground of 3 or 4 defenseman role. He's had some injury issues.
He has.
For me, this was just he was probably not going to be re-signed anyway. I think it's his last year in his contract.
Yep.
So this was kind of just a financial move for Boston. So I don't know. There's not really anything to say here too much as far as who wins and who loses. It's just
It's a sign though that New York is getting their house in order. I think to do a really good build. If you look at Cap Friendly, which is a great website, you look at New York's forwards. Every single forward has only 1 or only 2 years left. Like in year 3, other than Zibanejad, there's nobody else that's with the team longer than that.
I noticed that when and it's got more of that because they've been doing some moves and stuff. But I noticed that when they decided in I think January or February that they were going to clean house,
And they announced it and everything.
and then the pieces started moving and stuff, and you could just tell by looking at Cap Friendly what they were doing, what they were planning. And at the time, I gave them huge kudos, and I continue to give them kudos because I love what they're doing. I wish the Canadians would do that, and I said that then. So,
And it's mostly with the forward group. The defense group, they got Smith and Shea and Shattenkirk and Stahl.
they got rid of McDonough.
Yep,
But
they got rid of McDonough.
That was a trade.
But there's a good core left that do have several years left in their contracts.
Yep.
So it'd be interesting to see how it goes for the Rangers. Obviously, well, not obviously, but I think that they're not going to be a contender in the next few years anyway.
Once Lundqvist leaves and they get a younger goalie and some new
You never
the
know.
Rangers could look completely different. It's kind of exciting actually.
They're really going to be young up front.
Yeah.
And that's going to be something to watch. Yeah, good for the Rangers.
Next on my list, the Jets and Sharks jerseys got leaked. Their new third jerseys, they get leaked. I want to show you them to you.
Yeah.
You've never seen them.
I have
I know
not.
you haven't seen them, so
No.
I want to get your first impression here.
I'm such a big fan of the Jets' current regular main logo, so
This
it's going to
is-
be hard to impress me.
This is completely different. There's a lot of hate online for this jersey,
Okay.
just to let you know.
All right. We'll see now if I'm about to join that hate
All
or
right.
not. That's awful. That looks like
I completely agree. It's so bad. I don't like it.
Looks like
Let's
they,
see.
they dug up from the grave the guy who designed the Peterborough Pete's jersey.
Yes, that's a good.
That's what it looks like, the Peterborough Pete's. Just take an E and change that J to a P, and you get the Pete's.
That's a good analysis.
I don't like it.
It looks like a baseball logo.
It does. It
And-
does. That's
Or
terrible.
do you ever see a package of Oreos
Yeah.
that's blue, black, and white?
No.
Kind of looks like.
Oh, yeah.
that.
Okay.
You
The color scheme. Yes,
Yeah.
I do get that.
Um,
Why? I think that the Winnipeg Jets logo is one of the best logos in professional sports anywhere in the world.
I like it too.
I love it. So it's hard for them to come up to that bar because they set it so high when they chose that fantastic logo.
Yeah.
But with this, it looks like they didn't even try.
No.
It's
Look at the
terrible.
bottom. Look how thick the bottom white stripe. It looks like a wrestling belt. A little bit.
It looks.
Not a fan.
It reminds me of those licorice all sorts candies. You know, the blue and the black and the white stuff and the You don't know what I'm talking about?
No.
All sorts. You know those little licorice things, little squares and little circles.
Yeah, I guess,
Of layered licorice. Looks a little like that.
I
too.
guess.
Ugh. Not a fan.
I didn't think you would be.
No, not a fan.
Actually, I shouldn't say that. I didn't know, but
Yeah.
I know that I wasn't. I think this jersey would look better if it had darker shoulder pads. Not shoulder pads, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean.
Like, yeah.
If it was like a dark gray or something. All right, and the San Jose Sharks jersey was leaked. Their jersey on Instagram by a local sports store in like Utah or something like that. We can't see it all. We can just see a little bit of it. So it's going to be at the dark jersey, which I love. Big fan of that. But if you look closely over on the left, where the arm, it's got this weird like maze electronic kind of digital pattern
Yeah.
on it, and it looks shiny. I don't like that.
No.
I'm not a fan of that. So I'll have to wait for better pictures. But as of right now, as looking at that, not a huge fan. The rest of the jersey looks awesome. Love it. So thumbs up.
Same logo.
Same
right?
logo. Yeah.
Same team crest. Maybe a different background schema. So I have no opinion.
Next up, Robin Lehner. Have you heard the Robin Lehner story?
I have not.
Okay, this is really interesting. 'Cause you're subscribed to The Athletic, right?
I am.
So this story is actually available to everyone, not just subscribers.
Okay.
Robin Lehner recently came out and had an interview done.
Yes, bipolar.
Talking about him being bipolar and the
Correct.
stuff that he's gone through in his life.
Yeah.
It's a really long read, but it's a fantastic read. The stuff that you learn about Robin Lehner, you'll have so much more respect for him and what he has overcome to be where he is now. It really is tremendous. So
Wow.
I've never been a massive fan of Robin Lehner. He's been always a little bit of a hothead and stuff, and a liability at times to your team. But after reading that, I have much more respect, and I understand that he's had a tough mental life at points in his career. So I'm much more forgiving now, and really cool to see what he's overcome. Please go search just Robin Lehner, The Athletic story, and have a read. It's really good.
I'm a subscriber, but I have the Athletic program to only show me my teams.
Montreal Canadiens.
Well, Montreal Canadiens, Manchester United, Washington Nationals, Green Bay Packers, whatever it might be. I want my stuff. I don't want all the noise from other stories. That's why I wouldn't have seen the story, but I did overhear it.
But you're going to read it now that I mentioned it.
I am definitely going to read it.
It's very good.
Yeah, excellent.
Next on the news docket is Oliver Ekman-Larsson, named captain of Arizona. I think this was a good move. He's, I think, 27-ish?
Yeah,
Pretty sure he's 27.
I think and he's D, right? He's a defenseman.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And I think there's 3 or 4 all other defensemen that are older than him, more senior than he is. But to choose him to be the captain, I think is
it sends a message to him that they have confidence in him. He has confidence in them because they just signed a contract recently, I believe, and it's sending a message to the rest of the team that they can expect Oliver Ekman-Larsson at the age of 27 to lead the team, and that they should follow him into the battle. So,
right on.
I really like this decision.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people predicted it was pretty obvious, but still, I'm glad that they went through with it.
Excellent.
Next up on the docket is Jean-Gabriel Pageau.
Yeah.
6 months.
Achilles tendon rupture during testing, during evaluation or training, like dry land stuff.
Incredibly frustrating. With all of the things that's gone on with Ottawa, from the arena, the attendance, the Duchesne trade, with Turris, the Carlson stuff, the Melnick quotes. Oh my God, there's so much stuff in Ottawa that's going wrong. And then now this Pageau.
So one of the really bright lights that they've had.
Yeah.
He was hot and cold, but when he was hot, he was really hot. Oh. One of the Ottawa fans I was watching Twitter when this got announced, and one of the Ottawa fans said, without Pageau, who's going to be the player we need to beat Montreal?
Yeah.
He always seemed to, when Pageau was playing Montreal, he'd fill the damn net.
Yeah.
And without him, at least for the first 6 months, Ottawa will have to find a different trick to beat Montreal. I'm sure they'll find it.
Oh, they will. It won't be hard.
Yeah. I think the Pee Wee team in Pownell here could probably beat Montreal this year. But anyway, we'll see.
Last on my news list is that I think Babcock recently announced that Tavares, Riley, and Marleau will all be alternate captains next year. That doesn't mean that there's going to be a captain.
That's right.
There could just be 3 alternates. But that doesn't mean that there won't be an announcement to come
Yeah.
that there will be a captain. If there is an announcement, it's safe to assume that Matthews is probably going to be the captain. If he is, I completely disagree with that decision. I don't want Matthews to be an alternate or a captain.
Don't Pacioretty.
No, I want the stars to just be stars. Let them do their job. Don't worry about them. Like, Tavares is a star and he's a good leader.
Yeah.
Marlowe is a veteran and a good leader and a good player. I don't think Matthews is quite there yet where he should be the leader of the team and the producer of the team as far as points go. So I would just let don't Pacioretty him. Just let him be who he is, which is a goal scorer, an amazing skater, great playmaker, all those things. Just give some time.
And I think, to a large extent, the captain thing is a bit overblown anyway.
It is. It really
Arizona last year just didn't have a captain. Oliver Ekman-Larsson actually is succeeding Shane Doan as captain of the Arizona Coyotes. You don't need to have one. You can have some alternates. They still have the right to go up and have a conversation with the ref or stand outside the circle of exclusion while the negotiations are going on with the penalty box area. You don't need a captain. Some teams thrive with one, but you don't have to have one.
No, you don't have to have one.
You can have alternates that all play a leadership role of in some fashion.
Yeah.
And that's fine. Don't like, I totally agree with you. Don't give someone the captaincy if it might be a burden to them. Some people are just natural leaders. Saku Koivu was a perfect captain. He led by example. He wore the team on his back. He overcame amazing adversity. He was a perfect example of the kind of hockey player you want to have as your captain. But that's not, Jean Beliveau is another one. I think, of course, of Montreal ones. Ryan McDonough was captain of the New York Rangers, and I think he had leadership. But you don't have to have one. And if picking the captain is going to be stressful, just don't do it.
Yeah, you don't need it. Like you said, you don't need a captain. There's great captains out there. Sidney Crosby. Not a fan of Sidney Crosby, but I think he's a good leader.
Yeah.
Jonathan Toews, another good leader.
Yeah. Stamkos.
Mark Messier was a great leader. He was captain at times during his career.
Gretzky was a captain.
Yeah, so there's all, you don't need a captain.
And it's not always just your best player.
No, it can't always just be your best player.
Yeah.
They defeat the purpose of
It needs
what
to be your best
captaincy is
leader.
about. Yeah.
Your best leader, if you have one.
That's all I have is for news on here. It's been a bit
Well,
of a long
let's see
video.
now.
What you got?
Well,
What's
I
going
don't
on
think I
over
have
there?
much more there. I think I've pretty well.
You scratched and scribbled?
Yep,
All
I'm
right,
good.
looks
My
like
notes
we're
are
done.
clear.
Thanks, guys, for watching. I appreciate it. Lots of videos recently, so if you've watched all of them, thank you very much. And if you've made it this far in this video, thank you very much for your patience and
Don't you have stamina?
your viewership and your continued support. I really appreciate it. I hope you're having a good day, and we'll catch you in the next video. Adios.